Killing Bites sucks, but there's exactly 5 decent ideas tucked away in this anime. It's about the crazy underground world of animal human hybrid fighting, and the bulk of the anime is dedicated to an intriguing setup for a tournament arc. That's number 5 on my list of things they did right. There's 4 teams, 3 players on the team, and the team captain from afar tells the players where on the island they should move. And if they don't listen, their collar explodes. Much of the fights are Tier Zoo smackdowns taken to creative extremes, and it does a good job of playing out these matchups in interesting ways. I could see someone who's more into the SmackDown being into this, and everyone's animal gimmicks are fully integrated into their fighting style. That's number 4 on my list, the unique animal fighting gimmicks. The third thing they did right was the ending. This is one of the few times where I was trudging along with an anime that was very much not for me, but the ending managed to deliver a good sense of closure and an intriguing twist. In the last episode, the big bad is defeated, the animal human hybrids are no longer a secret, we now live in a world of furries. We see new characters teased for another tournament arc, and the protagonist is having a bit of a Harry Potter and the rest of his life moment. He was the Noir remaster for a Killing Bites team, and he reflects fondly on his time with Rattel, a honey badger yandere. Out of the blue, Protag-kun gets a text from Rattel, and the two meet up for the first time since the tournament. He says how much he enjoyed being around her, she returns the sentiment, things get very lovey-dovey, the scene feels perfect for the two to either become a couple or Rattel to ask Protag to join her for the new tournament, but it's not like she likes him, Baka. Instead, Rattel slashes the protagonist and ends him. She was given orders from her adopted dad to do this, and throughout the series, we've seen her reveal her soft dad side whenever Dad-kun asks her to do something. After finishing the protagonist, she gets in Dad's car, she's holding back tears, but the dad is like, well, his fate was sealed when he met you. This is what had to happen. This is a series that establishes that things could go very bad very quickly, so don't get attached, because your favorite might be impaled by a Pangolian. Killing the doughy audience self-insert, especially after the calamity was over, was a very bold, interesting move, and seeing tough girl Rattel quietly crying over this made for interesting character development. And that brings me to the second most interesting part of Killing Bites, which was riffing on a similar idea. In episode 3, before the tournament arc starts, the protagonist brings Rattel with him to his college lecture. The entire time, Rattel is nervous and fidgety. She looks around the room, she sees students playing their DS and slacking off. She feels disoriented by the professor droning on. She hates everything about this. She's used to fighting and moving, so she doesn't understand being in an environment so docile, so she leaves. Seeing Rattel, who's this bioengineered military weapon dealing with being a person, is an intriguing concept, and the few times this comes up, it's executed very well. How can a gun readjust to polite society? In the scene with the classroom, she simply can't. In the scene where she reunites with the protag in the final episode, we see more of that resistance, but she ultimately follows through, even if it's clear that she doesn't want to. However, this doesn't make up for the bigger problems holding this series back. This mangaka definitely has a thing about power dynamics. There's a lot of strong women and strong women being, for lack of a better term, put in their place in ways that are reprehensible. Protagonist is a beta who's just kind of strung along for the ride. And by the way, the tournament arc setup was a creative way to give the meek protagonist power over Rattel, and it feeds into that fantasy of, ooh, what if I could control a strong woman? But it's quickly revealed that they devised a system so Rattel is giving the protagonist hand signals and she's actually the one calling the shots. Within the tournament arc, and before, and after, things devolve into non-con one too many times because, bro, it's like so messed up and super edgy. You have no idea. This world is like super freaking twisted. Now, this series really goes out of its way to hammer home the point. The one with the strongest fangs win, which is a cool guiding principle for a fighting series. But how can I believe that when half the men are rapists and devolve into this so easily? If you want to sell me on that this world is freaking crazy and evil, I will only believe that if we also see men getting raped, and we also have at least one of the chicks having a girl with the dragon tattoo revenge arc where she ruins one of the men. As the series was, it felt like the author's fetish for degrading women kept getting in the way of the cool animal fights. And so they keep repeating the phrase, the one with the strongest fangs win. They worked that line into literally every episode. In episode 7, one of the fighters, I'm sorry, I forgot which animal she's a hybrid with, her superpower is spreading pheromones. This causes Rattel to have a sloppy Yuri makeout session with one of the other lady fighters, and if you want to know what Yuri made by men for men looks like, you watch this scene. Whoever made this has somehow talked to less chicks than me. It's impressive. Anyway, Pheromone Fighter, as she's gazing upon her Eurytopia, smirks and says, "The one with the strongest fangs doesn't always win," and we see her cunning strategy. But Rattel the Badger snaps out of the makeout session and declares, "No! The one with the strongest fangs win!" Oh. So, as soon as we see this phrase is going to be subverted, but instead it still finds a way to bludgeon force itself into the episode to the point where it felt like it was eking into meme parody territory. It's one of those things that felt very cool in the first episode as a way to establish the series' worldview. But by episode 3, it's just their greatest hits that they're content to riff on. It's their Freebird, it's their say the line, Bart moment without any substance or self reflection. And speaking of shit that is not for me, there's a lot of fuss being made over Rattel the Badger being in high school, as if that elevates her status when perceived as the girlfriend as trophy, rather than elevating the likelihood that anyone would call the cops on Pro Tycoon for being enough of a sleaze to hang out with high schoolers. But if you eat misogyny and questionable character ages for breakfast, the character designs are guaranteed to make you limp. What the fuck is going on here? Why are her shoulders so hairy? Can somebody please call Riley and his novelty scissors? She is difficult to look at. Every time Rattel has her big damn hero moment of declaring, "The one with the strongest fangs always wins," I had this terrible intrusive thought of finishing her catchphrase with, "And the one with the hairiest shoulders gets shaved." There are a lot of odd design choices. We see a wide spectrum of furry characters, but most are in an uncanny valley. There's a lot of big, meaty claws and unusual animal heads, and the most tolerable female design was the bunny girl, but I know that's because she looks like Sonico, one of the hottest anime babes around. But even then, this isn't like Sonico is suddenly a bunny. It's more like this gnarly looking rabbit chick reminded me of a decent waifu. Same could be said about the tiger guy. Like, he's fine, I guess, but only because I'm instantly sold if your character is a muscly blonde dude with long hair. And look, it's not like we are seeing a character like that every season. If this was a stronger anime character archetype, I wouldn't even process the Tiger Man because he is ugly. There's way too many gnarly looking faces and characters having freak out moments where they get all contorted and twisted. The few good moments and concepts don't make this worth watching, but that brings me to the fifth, final, and best part of Killing Bites, the comment section on the anime piracy site I watched this on. These dudes summed it up way better than I could have and gave me way more entertainment value than the actual show. Let me read a few of those for you now. A also says, "I like the anime, but MC is so trash." Iso King says, "The MC is more fit for a Far Side character." Like, how? Is Cow Tools going to be a competitor in Killing Bites Season 2 news character arc? I'm intrigued by this comment. I don't know what you mean or why, but I'm sold. Alak says, "So of course I know the reason why I am seeing this, and you know all well too, so let's just watch this and bleep off." Sukuna replies, "Haha, real bro. We know why we are watching this, haha. Ecchi type is my fave genre." Bigger Adderall says, "What? I am confused. What am I watching?" Gonna need a few more Adderalls, I guess. Spike is my spirit animal says, "This show lies. I thought these matches were death matches, but apparently nobody ever dies." Oh, buddy. Oh no, you're commenting on episode 3 before you watch the whole thing. People do die. Somebody's got to tell Spike is my spirit animal that he was wrong. All right, so he says, but apparently nobody ever dies. Considering Leo didn't die, and Bunny Girl apparently fought in numerous matches, lost, but wasn't killed. Pack says, "Too many perverts in this anime." He Way to God left multiple comments. He had a lot on his mind. So He Who Ate a God, first comment says, "I'm rewatching this since I lost the track." Next comment, "She is the main character." Third comment, "I love Bloodshed." Good on you, man. You found the right anime. I'm glad you're here. But next comment clarifies, "I don't like the animal design." Right, and then after that, "Bro got to see heaven." 4 laughing emojis. And his last comment on the episode, "Done." You know, I'm glad you could finish the episode, He Who Ate a God. Let's see. Dead Dreamer says, "Oh, boobies," with a red sweating emoji. Sebastian Besa says, A tiger is more stronger than a lion. It can easily beat a lion. Saito says, nah, the one with the sharper fang will win. Yes, thank you. Saito, you get it. Thank you. Thank you for giving Sebastian Mesa the SmackDown. This guy didn't know what he was talking about, bringing his Tier Zoo logic into the comment section. Quila XX says, I'm surprised that I ain't tired of hearing that catchphrase. Yeah, you're on episode 8 of 12. I think that perfectly sums up if you will enjoy this show or not. When she says, the one with the strongest fangs win, if you're like, God, that is so fucking cool. If you feel that passion when she says that, you will love this show. He summed it up best.